Hello there, fellow gardeners. Welcome to my channel. This is So Blessed. Today I want to talk to you about a leafy green. Yes, another leafy green one you may or may not be familiar with. And if you're not familiar, honey, let me introduce you. Swiss chard. Let's talk about that, guys, because that's one of my favorite leafy greens. I kid you not. Not only is it beautiful, you can find it in those bright red, bright yellow colors, but it's also a nutrition powerhouse. And I want you guys, if you're not growing it now, I want you to consider growing it for fall. That's right, I want you to consider growing it for fall. So let's chat about why it's okay to grow it in fall. Well, let me tell you this. Did you know it's part of the beet family? Yeah, Swiss chard is part of the beet family. So we don't focus on growing it for the root, but we do focus on growing it for the leaves. And it is similar to spinach. So like I said, it's easy to cook. I want you to try it. A lot of people are not familiar with it. And if you're watching gardening videos here on YouTube, you probably see it and you go, oh wow, that's beautiful, but you might not have known what it was. And if you're from certain regions of the United States, you may not even be familiar with it may not be a part of your traditional menu. So if you've not tried it and if you haven't seen it, here's a picture of it. Just like your other leafy greens, although this one is in the beet family, it's also packed with vitamins A, C, K, and magnesium. And it's a powerhouse. It's a nutrition powerhouse, just like some of the other leafy greens like collard greens and turnips. It's recommended. I say it's easy to grow because you can grow it in a 12 by 12 container. I've grown it actually in smaller containers, the stackable containers that you can get from Dollar Tree that have the small pockets. I've grown Swiss chard there. In fact, let me show you that. Container's only going to get so big, so basically you're restricting the plant. But if you want small tender leaves for salads or something like that, and you only have a small space to grow it in, it's still possible. And I'm just showing you. And these plants I've had since the spring, and you can see the root is coming up to the surface level, which means the soil has compacted, and also the root system is getting larger. So I need to add more soil, more compost, more amendments if I want to continue to feed this plant and have it survive going into the fall. So you might be thinking, why would I keep them in such small containers when I could transplant them into larger containers if I want to. And my thing is, well, my preference was to have some of my other plants that would require a larger space, to have those in the larger pots that I have, because my preference is you got to know what your purpose is for growing a particular plant, right? And that particular plant I'm growing to use as salad leaves, and to use, I primarily use them for sauteing, to add to omelets and things like that, or just to have extra sauteed vegetables going to pasta and things like that. So for my intended purposes, keeping those plants small where I can harvest the young and tender leaves, that suits my purpose. But if you are wanting to grow them in a way large enough to cook like as one of your main side dishes, like you would collard greens or turnip greens or kale or something like that, then you probably would want the larger leaves, and you would want the plant to have more of a substantial massive root system. Then you would need to grow them in larger containers. But I just want you to know that you can do both. So Swiss chard is also easy to grow. It's very forgiving, let's just say that. You can either start it as seed or you can start it in a container as a transplant crop. If you're planting it from seed, you want to make sure that you plant it about a half an inch deep into the soil. Just a half an inch deep into the soil will work. And you can expect to see some sprouts or germination within about a week, about 7 to 10 days. They grow best in full sun, but as you can see, I have my containers placed against the wall because I was growing them through the summer as well. And while they can withstand some heat, they can withstand the summer temperatures, but it's best to kind of give them partial shade in the summertime. I find that works best for me. So I do have a container garden, so that's a benefit to me because I can move, if I want to keep them from season to season continuing to grow, I can move my containers in the ideal spot for that particular growing season. Now, if you're in the hotter climates, then you probably want to give them some partial shade. And if you have a mild climate, it really doesn't matter because you can grow them year round. But they can withstand a light frost as well. So going into the winter months, you may still have some surviving plants, depending on the climate where you are. With Swiss chard, it is recommended that every few weeks or so that you do give them some type of additional feeding, whether you're using fertilizer or compost or you're a chop and drop kind of gardener. They will need some continuous type feeding every few weeks. So the other thing you might be wondering about is pests, and you probably heard me in a previous video say that I don't worry about my Swiss chard too much when it comes to pests. They don't tend to like that as much as they like the other leafy greens. So the pest management for Swiss chard I find to be minimum. I mean, if you see some critters walking around on them, of course you're going to remove them, and then just a light treatment of insecticidal soap should work for Swiss chard. At least that's what I found. So if your purpose for growing Swiss chard might be for salads or sauteing to add to additional dishes, you can harvest those leaves when they get about 6 to 8 inches is ideal for me. Yeah, you can harvest them. Just make sure that you're harvesting from the outer leaves. You don't have to take the whole head of the plant, take all the leaves at once. Just take the outer leaves and leave the center leaves to grow, just like you would with kale or maybe collard greens. Well, I have seen people take the whole head of collard greens, but I'm not sure. I guess if you're doing mass production or you're a farmer, that's ideal. It's actually probably a better use of your time. But if you're just a home gardener, you could take the outer leaves, the bigger leaves, the more mature leaves, and leave the center leaves to grow, and you can grow that crop and harvest from it many times. Like I said, I've had mine since the spring, and you see the condition of the plant. The more you harvest, the more will grow. And so that's your way of continuously having leafy greens in your garden for several growing seasons. Like I said, guys, Swiss chard, that's one of my favorite leafy greens to grow. I love the beautiful pop of color that it puts to the garden, but I also like the fact that it's a nutrition powerhouse. The vitamin A, the vitamin C, the vitamin K, and the iron and the magnesium, just like the other leafy greens that we traditionally have on our menu. Consider Swiss chard. Like I said, it's easy to cook. You can cook it just like you cook spinach. Add it to your omelets, guys. Add it to your pastas. Or you can just saute it and add your favorite seasonings. I hope that you consider growing Swiss chard. Like I said, it's perfect crop to grow in the fall and the best seasons to grow is spring and fall, but fall is coming near. Well, fall is here for some people. The fall season, growing season, is here for some people. So go ahead, consider growing this. It's very conducive for most climates if you pick the right growing season to grow it in. And that's really all I have today. And I want to thank you guys for being here. I appreciate your time. I know time is valuable, and I appreciate you clicking on the video and actually watching the video. If you want to consider subscribing, I really appreciate that as well. I want you to hit that like button and leave me a comment. Let me know that you were here. And I will see you guys in the next video. Happy growing.